Ever felt like your important business files are playing hide and seek across your Apple devices? Today, we're unveiling the secret to having your crucial documents at your fingertips, no matter which Apple gadget you're on. I'll unpack all of this after the intro. Hello, and welcome to episode 90 of the Macpreneur podcast. Whether it's your first time or your long-time listener, I appreciate that you carve out some time in your busy solopreneur schedule. I've created Macpreneur to help as many solopreneurs as possible save time and money running their business on their Mac. In order to help you be more efficient on your Mac, I need to know how well you're currently dealing with the three killers of Mac productivity, namely unnecessary clicks, repetitive typing, and file clutter. For that, just visit macpreneur.com/tips and answer a few questions, which will take you less than 2 minutes. After submitting your answers, you will receive personalized time-saving tips based on your results. Once again, visit macpreneur.com/tips, TIPS, and start boosting your Mac efficiency today. Okay, so as a successful solopreneur, you're likely using more than one Apple device in your daily operations. This episode is the last one of a three-part series where in episode 88, I dove deep into iCloud synchronization, and in episode 89, I covered different strategies to quickly install our most used applications. If you have missed those episodes, just click on the banner that appears now in the top right corner. This will open the playlist for season 4 where you will easily find them. And so today we'll explore how to make sure that we can access business critical documents across all our Apple devices. Before talking about synchronizing documents from third-party cloud providers, I would like to briefly cover iCloud Drive and especially its main advantages and disadvantages. The first advantage is that among the big four, so Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Dropbox, iCloud Drive is the only cloud storage provider that offers end-to-end encryption without negative side effects when dealing with documents. It still requires you to activate advanced data protection, which means configuring a recovery contact or recovery key and making sure that all your devices run at least macOS Ventura 13.1 or iOS and iPadOS 16.2. Now, I said without negative side effects because Google Drive technically can also accommodate end-to-end encryption, but you will have a lot of restrictions, like you won't be able to collaborate on Google Documents in real times, and if you install the Google Docs, Google Sheets, Google Slides mobile applications, well, bad luck, you will not be able to edit documents that are encrypted end-to-end. Which is not the case with iCloud Drive, which is why iCloud Drive has that as a big advantage. So both security and being able to edit and manage documents. The second advantage of iCloud Drive is that it's deeply integrated into the Mac operating system. So in Finder, for instance, if you apply color tags or name tags, those will get synchronized across all your Apple devices. And in Finder, if you right-click on a file or a folder stored in iCloud Drive, you will see a share option. If you click on that, then it's super easy to choose if you want to send a copy or if you want to collaborate with others. You'll even have direct access to the recently contacted people on messages. You can quickly select the Mail app to send the link without even needing to launch Mail in the first place. However, there is an important thing to keep in mind about iCloud Drive. When you share a file or a folder, the recipient needs to have an iCloud account. It's not a big deal if you collaborate with other people who have Apple devices and most likely will also have an Apple account. But as soon as you share files with someone that is outside of the Apple ecosystem, they will need to create an Apple account just for collaborating with you on those iCloud Drive documents. And on top of that, they will only see or edit the documents from the iCloud.com website. And finally, the biggest drawback of iCloud Drive, in my opinion, is how little control we have about choosing which files and folders can be accessible offline. Now, unlike OneDrive, Google Drive, and Dropbox, with iCloud Drive, it's an all or nothing situation. If you go to System Settings or System Preferences, and then you open your Apple account, you go to iCloud, you will see that there is an Optimize Max Storage option. If you leave that option off, it means that all your iCloud Drive files will be stored locally on your Mac. But as soon as you turn on Optimize Max Storage, you give away all control to macOS. So yes, you can force the temporary download of a file or a folder, but there is no guarantee that it will always be locally on your Mac. If at one point the internal storage space gets too low, macOS will remove all the necessary local versions based on criteria that Apple has decided on our behalf. And so all this combined explain why I only use iCloud Drive to easily synchronize Keynote, Pages, and Numbers documents, as well as data that I want to access from within certain applications. Okay, so now let's dig into synchronizing documents stored with third-party cloud providers. And I will start with the Mac, and there the number one thing to do is to install the Cloud Synchronization Companion app. So it would be then the Dropbox app, OneDrive, Google Drive, the Synology Drive if you have a Synology NAS. An important thing to pay attention to when installing third-party synchronization companion apps is to carefully configure whether all files get synchronized locally on your Mac or are available on demand. In other words, local synchronization means that all your documents are downloaded on your Mac so that you can access and edit them even without an internet connection. So it seems like a great idea unless the internal storage capacity of your Mac is smaller than what you store in the cloud. This is especially true if you have a MacBook with 128 or 256 GB of internal storage. And if you have more data in the cloud than your Mac can accommodate locally, then the only solution is to opt for on-demand access. You can still see all the files that are available from your cloud storage provider, but they don't occupy any space on your Mac, unless you double-click on one to start working with it. In that case, it will download the file, then upload the modified version to the cloud when you're finished. And unlike iCloud Drive, you can choose which files and folders can be accessible offline and stored permanently on the Mac's internal storage. In any case, remember that cloud documents are not backed up by Time Machine. So if you only have one Mac, you will need to find another solution to have a backup copy of those documents that are in the cloud. Now, this is a topic that I will cover in Season 5, and those episodes will be available at macpreneur.com/season and the number 5. So if you're listening to that in the future and you're interested in online security and data security, just visit macpreneur.com/season and the number 5. The second thing to pay attention to, especially when installing Dropbox on your Mac, is the potential to conflict with the synchronization of your desktop and documents folder. Because both iCloud and Dropbox can do that, it can create problems if you don't pay attention during the setup process of Dropbox. So assuming that you already have activated that feature for iCloud, and now you want to supersede that with Dropbox, it could create problems in the future. I've had one client who had this happen, and yeah, it was not easy to get out of that. The third thing to pay attention to, especially when deciding to move files and folders into your preferred cloud storage, is to watch out for incompatible characters in file and folder names. OneDrive is very peculiar as it doesn't accept double quotes, speech marks, asterisks, colons, less than, greater than, question marks, backslashes, forward slashes, or the vertical bar, or we call that as well sometimes the pipe symbol. Essentially, it rejects all the illegal characters from Microsoft Windows. Yes, we are penalized as Mac users by Windows from Microsoft. And on top of that, a file or folder name in OneDrive cannot start or end with a space. So for example, imagine a file named image space.png or a folder that could be named project1 space. If you have these kind of things on your Mac and you want to move them to the OneDrive folder, it will not prevent those from being copied into the OneDrive folder, but what will happen is that OneDrive will tell you that it cannot synchronize those with the cloud. So those files and folders will only be available on your Mac, not in the cloud and not on all your other devices, which would have the OneDrive application installed as well. And if that was not enough, yes, there is more. The file path, which refers to the entire folder structure followed by the file name, cannot contain more than 400 characters. Yes, so some of my clients, they really prefer Outlook and they want all the documents to be in Microsoft 365. And so I've helped a few of them migrate, and that's always the same issues that I'm dealing with them, teaching them how to properly name folders and files, and also making sure that they see that on the OneDrive icon in the menu bar, there is a red with a cross in it that signals that there are some synchronization issues. Now, if you go the other way, if you go to Google Drive has no limitations. So the only thing that it can't deal with is just based on macOS restrictions. So in Finder, for instance, the only symbol or character that is not accepted is the colon character in a file name or in a folder name. Okay, let's switch gear and go to the mobile device access. So if you want to access your documents on your iPhone or your iPad, the best is to install the third-party cloud storage app on your device. So it would be the mobile version of OneDrive, Dropbox, Google Drive. And after downloading it from the App Store, you just open it and you sign into your cloud account. First tip. Like with the desktop equivalent, it is possible to ask that a particular folder or file gets downloaded on the device so that you will be able to access them even without an internet connection. For that, you usually need to tap on the three dots to the right of the folder or file name, and then you will see an option that says something around make available offline. Tip number 2. In the Mail app, if you want to be able to attach a file from a third-party cloud storage provider, then you will need to make sure that they appear in the native Files app on your iPhone or iPad. And normally, third-party cloud storage access is activated as soon as you install the mobile application, but if they don't appear in the Files app, tap on the three dots in the top right corner, then edit, and there you will be able to toggle on access to the third-party cloud storage app that you have installed for instance, Dropbox, OneDrive, and so on. And after that, you just tap on done in the top right corner, and that's it. Okay, back to attaching a file in a new email message using the Mail app. So you long press in the body of the email and you'll see a pop-up with a few options like paste and select. There you just tap on the symbol that looks like a bigger than character as many times as needed until you see an attach file button. You tap on it and the Files app interface will appear. And so if needed, you tap on the browse button in the bottom right corner, and then you will see all your third-party cloud providers. You tap on the one that you need to navigate to, and you select the file that you want to attach, and it will get then attached to the email. Tip number 3, to edit files on the go, it's best to install apps that can natively deal with them. So if you use OneDrive, then the best is to install the Microsoft 365 application, which is able to edit and create Word documents, Excel spreadsheets, and PowerPoint files. And if you use Dropbox, chances are that you're dealing with Microsoft Office documents as well, so installing the Microsoft 365 app is also recommended. If you're a Google Workspace customer, then you'll need to install the mobile versions of Google Sheets, Google Docs, and Google Slides. In both cases, so Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace, the mobile applications are much less featured than either the desktop or the web equivalent. So you will be able to do some light editing, but not much more than that. Before the recap, there's one more thing I'd like to mention. So back in episode 88, I said that iCloud cannot sync application data. Well, this was partially true. The reality is that it depends whether the app developer incorporated iCloud Drive synchronization or not. So services that are cross-platform, meaning available outside of the Apple ecosystem, like on Windows computers and Android smartphones, they tend to synchronize stuff through their own servers. So the only thing that a developer will use iCloud for is to back up app data. However, when a developer decides to focus on the Apple platform, meaning developing apps that will only run on Mac, iPhone, and iPad, more often than not, they will offer the ability to synchronize data via iCloud Drive. This means that iCloud Drive must be enabled at the device level, but it does not necessarily mean that you will be able to see the files in iCloud Drive. For example, I'm using Ulysses for every blog post on the Macpreneur website. And yes, I'm able to synchronize all those posts and an entire folder structure between my iMac, my MacBook Pro, iPhone, iPad connected to my EasyTech iCloud account. But when visiting iCloud Drive, there is no Ulysses folder because the developer decided to use iCloud only as a synchronization engine. And that means that all those files and the folder structure, they are hidden somewhere, but I can't see them in Finder. On the flip side, I'm using another app called Just Press Record, which allows to quickly record audio from any Apple device and then get this audio automatically transcribed. Well, it's possible to configure Just Press Record to store the recordings in a dedicated folder accessible from iCloud Drive. The process is usually I will record something on my Apple Watch. This will get saved into iCloud Drive. And so to access those recordings from my Mac, I just open Finder and go to iCloud Drive and visit the right folder. Or on my iPhone or iPad, I open the Files app, and again, same thing, I can see and open the recorded audio file. So to recap, we've explored different ways to maximize your efficiency as a solopreneur when it comes to synchronizing business-critical documents via the cloud. First, I've briefly explored the pros and cons of iCloud Drive and why it's not necessarily the best option for solopreneurs, especially when collaborating with people outside of the Apple ecosystem. Second, we've looked at different ways to manage third-party cloud documents on our Macs. And finally, best practices and tips for efficiently accessing and editing those documents on iPhones and iPads. In the comments below, please share your main takeaway from this episode, and if not done yet, please subscribe to my channel so you will automatically get more helpful tips on how to run your business on your Mac. So that's it for today. The format of the next episode will be slightly different because I've asked a bunch of solopreneur friends of mine to share their favorite tool when it comes to the operations side of their businesses, and more specifically what helps them best serve their clients. So make sure to subscribe or follow this podcast to get it automatically next week. If you have a question about running a solopreneur business on a Mac, I'd be happy to answer it in an upcoming episode of the Macpreneur podcast. For that, just visit macpreneur.com/question or click in the link in the show notes. Tell me who you are and what your business is about, then ask your question either in text format or by recording a short video. And until next time, I'm Damien Schreurs, wishing you a great day.
Thank you for watching the Macpreneur podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, please leave a comment and share it with a friend right now.